foul on Reese. Reese gets up right away.
Now, when I saw this live, I was literally screaming no. I was like, not again. I was speechless. They did call a flagrant one on Caitlin Clark. She essentially said it was either Angel gets a wide open layup or we send her to the free throw line. It was a basketball.
Angel Reese was just grounded for her crazy temper tantrum against Caitlin Clark in their first game together. Was she still mad from last season or just tired of being ignored?
Her jersey, she was saying stuff to Caitlin and kind of walking down the sideline. I thought that was too excessive.
During the game, she kept calling Clark the F word over and over again, as if she had forgotten where she was.
Nobody got hurt in the play. They called it a flagrant one. However, I don't believe it was a flagrant one. I think it was a hard, common foul.
Before anyone says Clark is to blame for grabbing her arm, please slow down. That's just normal basketball defense, not a crime. And to be honest, Caitlin Clark has been treated less like a basketball player and more like a high-scoring punching bag ever since she joined the WNBA.
It's very different than some of the plays that we saw last season where the ball wasn't even in play and players were coming over and checking other.
It looks like dropping dimes and hitting logo threes is a sin in this league that needs to be punished with elbows smashed and full contact defense.
Which is crazy. But if you guys remember the Kennedy Carter foul from last season where she came up and bodied Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark didn't even have the ball wasn't even inbounded yet. Like, that's not a basketball.
Between Kennedy Carter's cheap shot last season and Diamond Dield's crash course in bad behavior, Clark keeps getting called for fouls that don't seem to be in the rules. She doesn't whine though. She plays over and over.
That's not going for the basketball, that's going for the person.
But how many fouls do we need before we call it? Targeted harassment dressed up as competition. The league has never seen anything like it. Not just her gun range, but her tolerance for cheap shots. If mental toughness was a stat, she'd be leading that area too. Still, no amount of self-control could stop what happened in Game 1. And just like that, in the very first game of the season, Caitlin Clark gets given the foul card, not for getting hit, but for trying to play defense. It was a simple basketball moment. Angel Reese was driving for a wide open layup.
If you guys didn't see, right before that play, Angel Reese had some contact with Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark saw that contact. She turns to the refs and she's like gesturing to them. And this is all happening very, very quick.
Clark, recognizing the threat, did what any player is taught to do. She fouled to stop the easy 2 points. It's called a take foul. It's legal, it's common, and it's the oldest trick in the book.
She turns to the ref, she's gesturing to them because she believed that Angel Reese fouled Natasha Howard. Now from that, Angel Reese gets the ball. Caitlin Clark realizes she is about to go up for what seems like a wide open layup. Caitlin Clark runs over and fouls her hard and Angel Reese falls to the ground.
But the referees, perhaps feeling theatrical, decided that this basic plan was instead a flagrant one, why they cited wind-up impact and follow through as if Clark transformed into a WWE wrestler mid-play. Meanwhile, Reese hits the ground like she was shoved off a balcony.
I was happy that Caitlin Clark just walked the other way. She really didn't want anything to do with it. It was just a basketball play. Now, what I didn't like that Angel Reese did is even after that play, she kind of kept going and it seemed like more and more people needed to hold her back. Like she was untucking her jersey. She was saying stuff to Caitlin and kind of walking down the sideline. I thought that was too excessive.
But the real foul came afterward, not on the court, but in how Angel Reese chose to react. Reese jumped up like a lit match had fallen on her jersey. She charged at Clark, shouting, swearing, and needing to be physically restrained by her friends. This wasn't competitive fire, this was crazy.
Was a basketball play. And Caitlin also even said after the game, she was asked about it once again, and she said, guys, let's not make this bigger than it needs to be. And I am 1,000% with her on that.
While Reese let the anger fly, Clark didn't flinch. She turned and walked away. No drama, no protest. Just class. It was a moment that should have spoken volumes. One player lost her cool, the other refused to give away her power. So naturally, the one who stayed cool got the technical. Welcome to WNBA logic.
Do not make this a highlight that runs all of the time. Please do not use this in promos. We're gonna hear it. I know next week everyone's gonna be talking.
Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston, who apparently committed the crime of stepping between two players, also got slapped with a technical.
They asked about this play and then they asked Aaliyah, why did you get the technical also? And she's like, wait, I got a tech?
You got the flagrant. Aaliyah, you got a technical. What kind of happened there?
If you got the tech? I know.
Wait, what?
I got the tech?
No.
Oh, first of all.
for what existing too confidently. Meanwhile, the player screaming insults and causing the entire scene just a speaking technical no ejection, no punishment. If the roles were flipped, would Clark still be in the game or already in the locker room apologizing to the league? This wasn't just a moment of bad officiating, it was a case study in how storytelling distorts reality. Because when it's Caitlin Clark doing the hitting, suddenly we're rewriting the rule book.
I don't think that this is the hill to die on when saying like, should it have been a common foul or should it have been a flagrant? Let's leave it.
Suddenly, a take foul becomes a scandal. Suddenly, holding your composure becomes suspicious. And because it's Angel Reese on the receiving end, the internet mobilizes not to question what happened, but to justify what they wanted to see. And what they wanted was anger.
She said it was a basketball play, the refs called it, and let's move on. And kudos to her for that, for kind of stopping this narrative. Both of them kind of speaking out and being like, hey, let's not make this anything bigger than it needs to be.
And if you've ever thought that social media could referee a game, just take a look at what happened after the foul. The moment Caitlin Clark made touch with Angel Reese, the Twitter jury clocked in.
Weekend 1 in the WNBA, Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky, and we get a play like that. If you guys were on my live, you saw.
Weekend 1 in the WNBA, Indiana Fever, Chicago Sky, and we get a play like that. If you guys were on my live, you saw suddenly every fan with a profile picture of their favorite player and a username ending in hoops_4 became a qualified ref. The takes were hot and reckless. Clark doesn't even know what a take foul is. Take fouls only happen at half-court. Basic basketball IQ vanished in real time as the need to dunk on Caitlin overruled the urge to Google, but it's easier to hate a player than it is to learn the rules of the game. They dominate poor people. If
somebody has a wide open layup and you have a foul to give, it is in your best interest to foul that shooter so that they don't get an easy two.
Let's clear this up once and for all. Take fouls can happen anywhere on the floor. The NBA rulebook distinguishes transition take fouls from standard ones, but the core idea is simple. If you foul to stop a scoring opportunity, it's a take call.
And what Caitlin said during an interview with Holly Rowe, she essentially said it was either Angel gets a wide open layup or we send her to the free throw line. It was a basketball play. There was nothing malicious behind.
And what Caitlin said during an interview with Holly Rowe, she essentially said it was either Angel gets a wide open layup or we send her to the free throw line. It was a basketball play. There was nothing malicious behind it. Clark did exactly that. No hostility, no dirty hit, just strategic, smart defense. But once the clip hit social media, logic didn't stand a chance. The play was no longer about context. It was about whom you liked more and whom you already hated.
For the ball, she went across her body. Now Angel got tied up in it and she did fall down.
Facts became irrelevant. The second feelings became law. Angel Reese supporters came out swinging, not with analysis, but with insults masked as basketball commentary. They rewrote the meaning of the foul, erased the replay proof, and turned Clark into a villain for daring to play defense. Meanwhile, Caitlin's fans had receipts. Last season clocked Clark in the head, and no one flinched. No foul, no blatant, no outrage. The double standard wasn't subtle. It was screaming through every tweet, but the louder Clark fans pushed back. The louder they were drowned out by emotion over fact. It's not about what happened, it's about who it happened to. And while Twitter was busy choosing who deserved to be dragged, Indiana was busy dragging Chicago straight out of the arena. The actual game, a bloodbath.
Manufactured rivalry, which by the way, you guys, the Indiana Fever beat the Sky by nearly 40 points.
A 93-58 demolition job that no one seemed to care about because drama clicked better than domination.
Recorded a triple-double, 20 points, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds. Wait, did she get the triple-double? Did we get it? You guys are saying that she got it. Did she get it? Oh, she got it! Let's go!
Caitlin Clark didn't just lead her team. She made WNBA history with a triple-double in her season opener. That's 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists plus 4 blocks, because why not? And yet all anyone talked about was the foul, not the fact that she outplayed an entire team.
How well spaced this scoring is. And also, you guys, if you look at the final score, I predicted this before the season even started. I said that the Indiana Fever was going to lead the league in points scored per.
Meanwhile, the player, who didn't know basketball, made it look effortless against professionals. Aaliyah Boston had the kind of game that should have shut her naysayers up. For good 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 soul-snatching blocks. She was everywhere on the glass, in the paint, and in Chicago's dreams.
And they are getting hands on the balls. They are rotating so much better. They had so many steals. Caitlin also, by the way, had 4 blocks. She had 4 blocks. Aaliyah Boston had 5 blocks. And I want to say this about Aaliyah Boston. She stepped up so much in the second.
After a shaky training and media doubt this was her recovery tour's opening act, then there was Dana Bonner casually dropping a quiet 7 points and, oh yeah, becoming the 3rd highest scorer in WNBA history. But that headline got lost somewhere under a mountain of was that fall a hate crime. TikTok's nothing exposes sports media priorities faster than watching greatness get ignored for gossip. Let's not forget Lexi Hall and Kelsey Mitchell, who rounded out Indiana's stat line like veterans in a playoff game.
Sophie Cunningham, you guys, did not even play in this game. If you look at this scoring and how well spaced this scoring is, and also you guys, if you look at the final score, I predicted this before the season even started.
Hull scored 9 points and 9 rebounds, while Mitchell added a clean 15. Everyone contributed. The Indiana Fever were locked and explosive and efficient the moves that they made, but seeing them in action, meanwhile, Chicago looked like they were still in preseason warm-ups. They shot 29% from the field, 22% from 3, and showed all the attacking rhythm of a middle school layup drill. Finished with 12 points, and Ariel Atkins chipped in 11, but the scoreboard told the truth. This wasn't a rivalry, it was an exposure, which brings us to the looming elephant in the room. Should Angel Reese be suspended? Because if we're being honest, the question isn't whether she went too far, it's whether the league has the guts to say it. Unnecessary contact from Clark. Yeah, I agree with you. And we've seen players fined and benched for less than what Angel did post-whistle. She didn't just react. She escalated her verbal abuse, body language, and continued violence after being separated. Crossed every line the league says it wants to enforce. If this wasn't suspension worthy, then what is? And if Caitlin Clark had done the same, we all know the punishment would have come before the press conference.